All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Ref Room. I am Scott Smokin Silz, along with our local referee-in-chief from the Chicagoland area, Brad Baumruck. It is Thanksgiving week. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Glad you guys are with us live. And for all you watching the replays, we're glad you're here as well. So today we're going to talk a few things, but the main topic is we're going to talk a little bit about tournaments because this is tournament season. We just came off of a couple tournaments. We had the big one, the CCM World Invite. We just had the big Stevenson, which was the high school tournament, and St. Viator high school tournament. And now we got the Stevenson high school tournament coming. We got the Loyola tournament coming, and I don't know, umpteen others that are going to be here fairly shortly. So anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about that. But you know, one of the things we always like to talk about, we like to talk a little NHL to kind of kick things off. And, you know, everybody's excited. You know, we got Bedard. He's got 15 points, and we're in last place. Yep. 0-4 in the last 4 games. I mean, poor Hawks, they got a tough schedule to start. I have to admit, they had a really, really tough schedule, like probably the worst schedule of any NHL team to kick things off. A, they're on the road, and B, they're playing all good teams. So that was a little tough on them. But, you know, I still feel like I have a lot of hope for them because they're still competitive. Like last night, they lost a 1-goal game. I mean, they're going to start winning some of these 1-goal games and turn things around. I think next year, you know, if they make the right moves, we get a playoff team next year. I know that sounds crazy when we're down in the cellar right now at the bottom of the barrel.
But you know, somewhere, Scott.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, I think we've got some, you know, great talent. You know, I was listening to one of the news radio stations today, and to show you how much they pay attention to the Hawks. So, you know, Nick Foligno, I don't know how they pronounced his name, but for professional broadcasters that actually cover some of this stuff, they might want to find out what they're talking about. So that's all I can say. It's kind of interesting.
Hey, Scott, I want to point out the fact that, you know, at the beginning there where we're in the pre-show thing, because it is Thanksgiving and we're having fun already. You know, I think the season's already getting long. I don't know if everybody realizes we're already at the halfway point.
I know. It's scary. I don't feel like it's gotten long because I don't feel like I'm doing nearly as many games as I'm used to doing. So I'm still fresh and ready to go. Like, I don't remember working like one game on a Sunday night, and that was it.
It's all that men's league you've been playing in, you know?
Yeah.
Well skilled.
I've got my stamina up. Yeah. You know, the adrenaline has kicked in. I'm ready to go. No doubt. But, you know, I'll tell you, that's been fun. That's been fun. I mean, I've had a blast, you know, taking a 9-year sabbatical and coming back. And, you know, I sucked. I still suck, but not as bad. I'm scoring some goals and getting some points, so it's all good.
Well, the reason I wanted to point it out is because, you know, we're having fun here, you know. And as the music's going, you heard me go, God, I hope you can see me. So Scott's got that music on, and I was just sitting over here just dancing because I know that he could still see me. You guys can't, but I knew he could, and I was waiting. And I'm like, all right, he's not going to say anything. So I think you should have fun with your games like that, too. Maybe not the dancing part, okay? Right. Have that part in your mind, you know, but it does get long, you know, especially with tournaments. The days get long if you're reffing a lot. So try and have a good time. Make the best of it, you know. When I ref, so like CCM weekend, we do 6, 6, and 3, right? And that first day, at the beginning of the day, 3 times 6 is 18, right? 18 periods. So when I start the day off after the first period, every year I've done this forever, I turn to my partners, I go, we're 1 down, 18 more to go.
No, 17 more to go.
I hate you. Or sorry, 17 more
17.
To go. Right?
We do the same. We do the same. It's a countdown.
Well, then, you know, like as I start getting even worse, then it's like, okay, we have 17 warm-ups left because now I'm like turning it into 5-minute things. You know, just little things to, you know, screw around with, I think make the day a little bit better. So, you know, when you're reffing a ton, I think that's a big tip. And it makes it easier if you're having fun for the coaches to engage with you. I had a college game Friday. I'll point this out real quick, Scott. This is just one more thing of having fun. And maybe somebody can answer my question. So we had a college game on Friday. The team lost 8-0. I didn't do that one, but I knew about it going into Saturday. And it wasn't pretty. The whole game wasn't pretty. So when I got there, I wanted to, you know, kind of have some fun with it, right? Get these guys not thinking as much about, trying to kill each other, right? So I asked the coaches of both teams, what did Kevin McAllister's dad do from Home Alone as a professional? Well, the team that lost 8-0 and had all these problems the night before, the first period, about 3/4 of the way, their coach goes, hey, Brad, yeah. And I come over, he goes, he's a stockbroker. Dead serious. That's what he's talking about. He's talking about them, this Kevin McAllister Home Alone movie. They're getting killed. It's already like 5-0. Like, so it brought some levity to the situation. Then the next thing I know, during the second period, the other bench is like, well, I think he did this. And then here comes the first bench again after I'm bouncing it back and forth. Now, so we got things going on, it's a big thing. Well, then the best answer I've gotten so far, and there is no real answer, even if you Google it, was Kevin McAllister's dad worked for Walgreens. So that house is in Evanston.
Yeah.
The accounting, I believe, you would probably know this from being in the city, I believe the accounting for Walgreens used to be in the John Hancock building, if I remember correctly, before they moved it to Danville. So, and I think they moved it after that movie was made. So it's the most rational, intelligent situation that I could come up with. But I did point out, if he's some sort of accounting guy, how did he not account for taking one of his kids with him? Did you see my kid just pass behind me? I saw him. So, but I just,
your
I
numbers.
just wanted to point that out. Yeah, it's just one of those things that, I knew that they were going to have a long game. We all knew it was going to be a long game, but trying to get their minds off of it kind of helps, and it makes your day a little better. So
keep it light. If you can keep it light, I mean, even if you got a tense situation, it's always nice to be able to keep it a little light for them. I mean, they appreciate that, and it does sometimes calm their nerves a little bit because it gets a little rough out there sometimes. One of the other things that now that we're into tournament season here for the Thanksgiving time period, we've moved so much to doing 2-man and 4-man that we don't do as much 3-man as we used to. So, a few things that we should. What are you holding up? 5.
The 2 official system, the 3 official system, or the 4 official system.
Yeah, that's what I said. 2-man and 4-man. Woman or man, it doesn't matter. It's 2 or 4. All right.
They changed it in the rule book
All right.
for you.
We got to be politically
get
correct.
times.
We'll be politically correct. So what I'm saying is we haven't been doing a lot of 3 official system games.
There you go.
I did one last night. We were short, so we ended up doing a 3-man. No, we did not do a 2-1, just to clarify. But we did a 3-man, and a couple things to a lot more skating than in the 4-man for sure, for the person that's in the middle, and in terms of just trying to keep things running as smoothly as possible. I mean, linesmen, you got to remember to cover. Linesmen that work. Or lines people that work 4-man, you're going to have me all screwed up here. We work a 4 official system. The lines people that work the 4 official system, you got to remember, you got to cover goal lines once in a while. If you get a stretch pass for a breakaway, it's a good idea to go in and not have the referee have to put his hand up from back at the neutral zone to make the call for the penalty shot. Which I did last night, by the way.
This is 3 official or 4?
This was 3.
Okay,
This was 3.
So the lines persons need to cover the blue line in the aid of the referee when they are not able to.
They need to cover the goal line. They need to cover the goal line. Yes, go.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And and the best way to know that your referee needs that, A, they're pointing at you as they're skating up the ice.
Go!
or B, they look like a deer in the headlights. Okay? Yeah. That you should probably go down there too.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, covering is a definite necessity, especially later in the game.
Think about it from this standpoint. If you see an odd man break, where is your referee? Is he on the bench side or is he on the free side? Which means if he's on the free side, he's got a better shot of getting down there and getting through everybody. But if he's on the bench side, if there's a player change or something like that, he could be caught up in a player change, and that's probably how they got a stretch pass in the first place. And, you just need to be aware. When you see that odd man break, and, if the bands are not, like, within 15 or 20 feet, and they don't look like they might be able to get there, then, you need to cover, like, especially in that odd man situation or on a stretch pass situation. We got one team here. Yeah, I'm sure you've seen them, New Trier Green. They've got the best stretch pass system going of anybody. From that goal line, I watched them, not last night, but about a week ago. Probably have 5, maybe 6 of those during the course of the game that just turned the game around. They played a really good team from out of state. By the way, I gotta give a shout out to St. Viator, because the tournament that they had last week was absolutely incredible. They had some of the best high school teams in the country here. The hockey was amazing. The players were amazing. Like, we had no issues. Like, everybody was playing hockey. It was a fun weekend. And, you were talking about keeping things light. One of the coaches, wasn't my foursome that was out there, but the foursome that was out before us, the coaches were like, man, those guys were having so much fun out there. They're high-fiving and getting around and just having a good old time. How can you not help but enjoy the game? It just makes everything so much better and go better and be fun. So, exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, it's funny. You brought up a memory for me. So back in the day on that Seven Bridges Olympic side that we have here, which is a mammoth rink if you're not from the Chicago area, it's absolutely huge. Yeah. We were at the end of like our 5th game or 6th game of the day, and it was Thanksgiving weekend, and the one team was not going to win. Like, you could tell this from the warm-ups. They were not going to win. Their coaches are like, there's no chance we're going to win this. Like, so our one partner took it upon himself whenever he'd skate an icing down to skate the thing as fast as he could. I mean, we're talking like lightning coming down the ice. And then he'd come by and he'd make some sort of like animated sound when he would hand off the puck. Like, loud enough so that all the parents would hear it. By the end of the game, okay, so me and him are lined, and I forget who's reffing. So after he starts doing it, I'm like, all right, so I started doing it, right? By the end of the game, almost everybody was cracking up afterwards, and this team's losing like 11-1 at this point. Like, they're just getting killed. But
could you slow roll the puck just a little bit in the third period? Could you just turn it down a notch?
Well, what was funny is when we got off the ice, all these parents stopped us and thanked us for having a good time. And this is the losing team. Yeah. They're like, inevitably you get put in these spots and nobody's having any fun, but you guys made it at least enjoyable for us, so thanks. Which, you never would have thought that would happen, but it was just one of those things. The referee, I can't even talk today. The referee was cracking up when he was bringing it down because he's making these faces at you the whole way down the ice, and it was something else, let me tell you. But I'm a big fan of that kind of stuff.
Since you're on to a slaughter situation, let's throw this out here, and you guys can put it in the comments.
A mercy situation?
A mercy situation, okay?
There you
Meaning,
go.
mercy rule is usually 5
right?
goals in the third period, the clock runs.
Mm-hmm. Most.
Do you put the puck down with 30 seconds left? If there's no chance, if it's a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 goal game, do you put the puck down with 30 seconds left?
You got to assess the situation of the players. If you're having problems, no. Figure out a way not to. Most teams are going to be amicable and just get off the ice. If you're having guys that are having fun or whatnot, there's been no issues. It's a fairly non-threatening situation. But, yeah, you can put it down then. But you really got to be able to read the temperature of that game and read what's going on. If it's like you could cut the tension with a knife.
Oh, yeah, I've had a few where it's like I don't want to put it down in the last minute because it's just going to be a riot and it's coming. But, even if the game has been pretty good, I'm not a big fan of trying to get that puck down in a hurry with 30 seconds or less left in the game because, you got through the game, it's done. You're not going to win the game. You're not going to score six goals in 30 seconds or whatever. So, I just feel like let's keep everybody safe and make sure everybody gets to play the next game because, once you put that down, somebody's not happy. Sometimes things go south from there, and it's just not a good idea. So This is just my personal opinion.
I think, too, the referee dropping the puck has a little bit of influence there. You know, I've done it before. I'm like, I'm going to put this thing down, but you guys aren't going to move, okay?
Oh, yeah.
And you drop it, and both centers just stand there and look at each other, and then it's over. Like, so it depends on what you got going on, because you could have, you know, maybe a coach that's very, very adamant about you getting the puck down and all that stuff. Well, you kind of gotta go with it, right? And, you know, there's no reason in starting an argument when you could solve the argument just by overstepping what the argument could be. Hey, you guys, I'm gonna put this down because we got to make him happy. Don't move. Most players are totally fine with that. Like, they'll listen to you. They don't want to get suspended either. They want to play. By the way, if they're losing 11-1, they're already thinking about what they're having for dinner.
Exactly.
So they don't care. They just want to get to the next day, and hopefully that they're going to.
It's all about keeping everybody safe and, you know, getting to the next game so that they can all play. So nobody's sitting the next game. You know, that's really what my thought process is, and I hope you guys feel the same way. So just something to think about when you have these, because sometimes you do get some rounds that are a little uneven in the tournaments. Teams don't know, or the people scheduling may not scheduling, but, you know, putting the tournament together, they're going to get teams from different parts of the country. They may not know them as well, and somebody gets in a spot that, you know, it's going to be a runaway game or whatever. So, you know, you're better off to just kind of keep it cool. That's just my opinion, for what it's worth.
No, I agree with you. I mean, I think that goes along the lines too. Like, you know, as referees, we should always be thinking about, you know, the consequence of not trying to communicate before using 601, and then progressing 601 to where we're either throwing a player out or a coach out. We should be thinking about, are they playing again tomorrow? Are they, you know, I mean, if we've downright crossed a line, right? That's one thing. Like, you know, like a water bottle comes flying at you. Okay, yeah, you're not gonna. You know, you can't get around that one. But I think
I don't want to jinx it, but I haven't had that experience yet. So, you know, I'm glad. That's one I haven't had. So
now that you said it, you'll have all kinds of problems.
Probably.
So like, oh, you know what? I'll tell you a weird one that I had this weekend that I haven't had in a long time. But let me get through this. So like, if there's a way to, you know, de-escalate the situation, I think as referees we should be trying to do that. And I think it becomes more prevalent during a tournament, because these teams are coming in from out of town, right? They're coming in to play, like our kids are going to Michigan for a tournament in Thanksgiving. They're playing teams from all over the country, 4 different teams that they've never played before. Like, they want to play different competitions, so they're out there. Every different team that you play, the players get better. And as referees, I'm not saying we shouldn't be throwing people out. If they broke the rules, throw them out. But 601, a lot of the time, can be not used if you use the other 39 rules that we have, and then use some de-escalation skills in order to not have to throw these people out. Because now when you throw them out, especially like with a head coach, right? You throw him out Friday morning. Now Friday night, his team has no leader. Okay? You don't know if the assistant's going to be any good at it. You don't know if the kids listen to him. So you've just kind of, in a way, you know, taken that team and maybe unleashed it on somebody else. And then also worse, it could be you have them again later, and now it's even worse because that head coach isn't there, and you're like, oh, God, I threw this guy out, and this other guy's even crazier. So, like, I just think we need to be mindful of it. If you break the rules, throw them out, right? If it gets beyond the line, you know, super personal, or they're just making an absolute clown of themselves, yeah, we're going to have to eject them. We understand that.
It's an emotional game.
Yeah,
it
but
happens.
I think a lot of officials could attempt to de-escalate the situation rather than go right to start ringing people up and throwing people out. Yeah. And you don't have to threaten. Just say, hey, you done? I heard you. I understand. And if they're going to keep berating you, everybody knows now, hey, I said, you know, I'm done. Are you done? Like, you offered them an out. Like, no, I'm not done. Okay, then you might have to listen to a little bit more. But if they say yeah and then keep going, well, now they've crossed the line, right? So it's just some tips and tools to think of, and especially with teams coming in from out of town, you know, just keep that in mind. I think that's the big thing.
Yeah. You know, and we've talked about this before, but, you know, try to get the coach to come down, bring him off to the side, have him come over towards you. You know, try to have a personal conversation if you can, where it's not just a show with him up on the dashboard and or on the dasher and the bench and, you know, talking down to you. you don't want to put yourself in that position. It doesn't look good. It looks like he's in control of the game and you're not. So, have him come down, have a conversation with him. What's your question? Do you have a question? Is there a question here, or is it just, you're blah, 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 blah. If it's a question, answer the question. If it's not a question, okay, we're done. Off you go.
Yeah. Yep.
Put the puck down. Again, your best friend is the clock moving, okay? Putting that puck down. Once the puck goes down, the chirping stops. So the sooner your partner that's got the, at the face-off circle, I didn't say it, I said your partner. As soon as the partner has the puck at the face-off circle, get it down. Let's go. Once that puck once that puck goes down, things seem to settle. So
one, and I think too, Scott, if they don't settle, guess what? They've crossed that line again. Because everybody knows that you're done. The conversation's over. We're going on to the next thing. So, you're really giving them what I would consider enough rope to hang themselves. Yeah. That's the biggest thing. If you could watch something like these events, okay, that we're talking about, if you could watch it with no sound, and you could tell that coach was going overboard and that's what he was ejected for, you've given him more than enough slack. Trust me on that.
Right.
So, that's the thing. So, I mean, again, be mindful, but also you do have to penalize when it's appropriate. But we could use the other 39 rules in the rule book before we have to use 601.
Yep. Try to be consistent out there. The first day sets the tone. Your Friday, that's kind of what they're going to expect for the rest of the weekend. So if you call a very tight game on Friday, they're probably going to expect the same thing throughout the weekend, and that may not be the case. So if you're working in a four official situation,
there you go.
Very good. Four officials, try to be on the same page with your partner. If you're a referee and your partner, with your partner, you want to try to have kind of the same standard. You don't want one end of the building to be really tight and the other end to be a little bit looser. There needs to be a little consistency there. And as you work with different partners, you learn and you feel them out. And, what we always like to say is make sure that first penalty is a good penalty. And that goes for two-person, three-person, or four-person. If your first call is a good penalty, four officials.
Two officials.
Yeah, if you make that first call is a good call where everybody knows that was a penalty, that's the right call, and it gets you off to a good start. So you don't want to have that little neutral zone. Did he trip over the stick and it didn't affect the play and make sense? You don't want to be in that situation because now you're looking at probably having a lot of calls that game, and if not, you're going to hear about them because everybody's going to want that call every time.
All right, so I got a good situation for you, Scott, on the fly.
Yeah.
All right, so every rule book's the same, so I don't even have to get into what level it was or anything. So penalty time expires, right? Guess where the play is?
Penalty time. I'm guessing it's right by the penalty box door.
It is stalled directly in front of the penalty bench door, which is now open.
Oh.
Player in the box takes his stick, puts it into the play, and chops the other opposing player's stick out of the way, away from the puck. Mm-hmm. Jumps out onto the ice. What do you got?
Well, what you got is what you don't want to have, okay? You're going to be calling an interference penalty, okay?
Yep.
I mean, if the player is not out of the box, if he is still inside the penalty box and he puts his stick into play and affects play any way, shape, or form, it's interference. He has to be completely on the ice. So if that player coming out of the penalty box isn't completely onto the ice surface, then, you've got a penalty situation. And also you got to be looking because so many times players jump off the bench before the guy gets to the bench. Sometimes they're not even out of the box, but the box is right next to the bench. I think we're all a little bit understanding about that situation if it doesn't affect play. If the player coming off the bench didn't grab the puck, because now you get too many people on the ice. Is that politically correct? Am I going in the right direction? You got too many players on the ice. Too many players on the ice.
You got it.
Yeah.
You're going the right way.
Yeah.
We'll get you over there.
But yeah, and I've had that happen a couple times where I've had a player in the penalty box that got the stick out and got it into play or whatever. It's not a favorite call for referees to make. It's not a popular call. I'll tell you that right now. It's not a popular call, but it is a penalty.
Well, what was funny is the guy chops the guy's stick away. He jumps out of the bench. I hit the whistle, and I go, get right back in the box. He's like, what do you mean? And his coach leans over. He goes, you can't play hockey from inside the penalty box, you idiot. Sit down. The guy sat down. It was so funny, though, because he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, get right back in the box.
Well, players are just funny, okay? I mean, we had a play last night. There's a delayed offside, and the player comes in, and he gets the shot off, and he gets the shot off as he touches the puck. The linesman blows the whistle, and he's like, what are you doing? The puck's still loose. The puck's still loose. Face-off's going outside the zone. I mean, come on, guys. You're offside. Everybody else knows it except you. It's just kind of funny. They're always focused in whatever they're looking at and whatever is happening to them at the time. So, yeah, it's same situation. Yeah, for sure. Well, let's say a little. I
haven't seen anybody.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I haven't had anybody play it from the penalty bench or the players bench. It's got to be like 15 years. I had it happen, and it was a long time ago, and it was in a championship game. The guy coming out of the box, guy passed it to him, and he still had his back foot in the box. Oops, beep.
Oops.
Sorry, bud. Got to get back in. What? Your back foot's still in the box.
I bet if you polled the benches, 90% of the players or more would not know that. So
I'm sure it's probably pretty close to 100% the whole time.
Yeah, I was being kind. I was giving him the benefit of the doubt. Jay Sidney got a few comments in there. Thanks for joining us. Alan, scorekeeper from Skokie. Always glad to see you on the show here, my friend. Carl has joined us, as well as Karen and Rob. So let me take a look at a few of these questions, see what we can get to here. Alan mentions that they have a annual O'Grady Thanksgiving tournament at Skokie coming up. So, yeah, another one of the tournaments. Lots of stuff going on.
No. Scott.
Yeah.
Let me stop you. The O'Grady tournament is the Loyola tournament.
Oh, the O'Grady's
the actual name of it.
Oh, okay. I forgot that's the we go by the Loyola. We always call it the Loyola tournament. That's how we all know it.
The O'Grady, that's the name of the tournaments, okay?
Yeah, you're right. And that's a good one because usually they have Gatorade snacks and bars. There's a free plug for Gatorade, but usually
they do.
The O'Grady tournament usually has some nice stuff for the referees that way. So that's always a favorite. Jay says he'd like to use 601 more than calling actual penalties. I don't know about that, man. I mean, you shouldn't be putting yourself in that situation where you got to use 601 that much. If you have to rely on 601, there may be other issues going on that you need to think about. Okay, you want to be nice to those coaches, man. Again, we are very fortunate. For a lot of us that are experienced officials, we get to see a lot of the same coaches over and over. Those coaches pretty much know your standard. I mean, how many coaches have seen Brad Baumruck on the circuit, okay? Lots of them. They know what he's going to call or what he's not going to call, or pretty much. They may question, like, really? Today you're going to call that? Like, you normally wouldn't call that. That's one thing. But the fact of the matter is, they know what the standard's going to be. Is the standard going to be, we're going to be able to play hockey tonight, guys? Or is the standard be like, don't even look at anybody because you're going to the box? They know going in. They may be talking it up to get their players involved in the game or get guys excited, but they know. And it's unfortunate for a lot of our newer officials, our level ones and our level twos, the coaches don't know them as well. Maybe they've only seen them once or twice. Maybe they haven't seen them at all. They're just getting opportunities. Yep. So this is where it becomes tough because, as you're a developing official, one of the things that I see when evaluating officials, especially that are around only a couple of years, they really haven't developed their penalty standard yet. It's not a consistent thing. They're still learning their way around the ice. They're still trying to figure things out and try to become consistent with stuff. But this is where coaches get frustrated. And unfortunately, when you are the newer
turns into
officials,
yelling.
yeah. I mean, it's kind of not fair because the newer officials don't have the experience and the coaches don't know them, and that makes it tougher than if you're around all the time. I mean, typically a coach, he might wait till the end of the period. He might say, hey, I got a question for you. What about this? And it's like, oh, okay. And, explain, don't explain. I mean, go over and talk to him. You're going to see him again. It's not the last time you're going to see him this season, probably. Might as well have a good rapport with the person. But again, this is what makes it tough on new officials. It's tougher, I'm telling you. I feel for the newer officials. I feel for our younger officials, our 12, 13, 14-year-olds that are just getting going. Like, they are trying to learn. They're doing the best job that they can. And I've seen a few of them at the rinks recently. They're working hard. They're coming off the ice. For them, if you're 12 years old and you're out there working 15-minute periods, for them, they think that's a really long time out there. They're cold when they come off. Their hands are like, they are not used to doing all this stuff and doing multiple games. This is an experience for them. Just being out there is a challenge. So you add in the mix of, we got a hockey game going on and we've got personalities involved here and decisions that people don't necessarily agree on. This is a challenge for our newer officials. So if you're a coach watching this, understand that. What we're telling you here is pretty accurate.
Scott, the one thing that you hit on the head at 100% is that they're developing a penalty standard, or their officiating is actually developing, because a lot of people can go out and they can watch really good referees work a game and be like, boy, that looks really easy. Okay, and those guys are breaking their butts the whole game, and the reason they're able to just make lightning decisions and just keep going with it is because they've already done it. They've already been through that situation. They may have already screwed it up, so that's why it's right this time. So you, unfortunately, just like the players have to learn how to skate. They have to learn how to stick handle. Squirts can't skate as good as peewees or bantams. Why? Because they're all developing. Officials are developing as well. And unfortunately, here's the worst part about officiating that most people don't realize. When I was refereeing, when I was like 17, 18, 19, okay, when I'm especially 19, right? I'm 4 years into it. I've refereed a million games at that point. I'm already working, high school and AAA and ACHA college hockey, and I'll go out and I'll do a game, and I'll be the 19-year-old, but I'll be with somebody your age, Scott, no offense, and it'll be your third game, and I'm the senior official on the game.
Oh, yeah.
And people automatically go to you for everything,
yeah.
Which, as a younger official, you have to learn that too. That's just how it works. It's also kind of like, referees that work together with other referees. So, like, if you work a game, with me, most of the time there's a good percentage that if it's an Illinois team that the coach has been here for more than 5 years, I'm going to have some sort of probably personal interaction with them, whether it be good, whether it be bad. We're going to have had it, but we're going to understand where we both lie. And they're probably going to come to me if they don't know who you are. And it doesn't matter on what's going on, and you can't take that personally. It's just we already have a rapport built. And as you officiate, you have to build these rapports and build it as you go. Like, some of the best linesmen that I've ever seen, like, they have rapports with all the centers. Like, they know the centers' names when they get out there. Like, and we're talking upper levels of hockey. Before they go out there, I've seen guys write the centers' names on their hands from the lineup card, like, and stuff. And they'll be like, and then they'll look 9, hey, Hughes, how you doing today? And they're like, how do you know? And then their famous comeback, your name's on the back of your jersey, bro. But that's not what they're looking at. They're looking at their hand, right? Yeah. So, but they're building rapport. They're showing them that we are humans. That's why when there is a mistake, we're like, hey, I totally screwed the pooch on this one. Yeah. And as much as you don't want to do that, it does happen. I mean, I hit the whistle the other day, and I was like, and they're like, what happened? I'm like, honestly, I lost sight of it, and it's right there behind the net, and I'm an idiot. Like, it's all I can say.
It happens. It happens. There's times where that puck gets up near, in dark areas in some of these buildings. They've got black walls or dark gray walls. Puck goes up, maybe you're thinking it's hitting the glass. It's hit the net, and you're on the other side of the building. Sometimes it's really hard to see that. It takes a second. We usually figure it out. The players figure it out too, okay? Let's be honest. Like, the players know what's going on for the most part as well. So you know when to hammer the whistle. And
well, Scott, with the puck going out of play, like, I'd like to point out until, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, the NHL still had it in the rules. If it went out and it was unobserved, they couldn't do anything about it. Now they have video replay on it, I believe. I think they added that. But because there was a goal, I remember seeing it on ESPN's highlights, and it was in L.A., I think. And the puck shot up and went off the netting, and it hit the goalie in the back and went in the net.
Did it go in?
Like, yeah, and so they call it a goal. They all get together, all 4 of them. Nobody saw it go out because it was dark up there, and the netting's black, and they just couldn't see it. Like, but you could see it clear as day on the video, but they didn't have a video review for it. So, not everybody can think of everything. Let's just put it that way.
That's the thing. And, what I see from my side of the ice may be totally different from what you see from your side of the ice. And that's why we have, a couple people out there doing what they do, because it helps. And, a coach standing on the far end of the bench, and there's a play on the opposite side with 8 players in front of the net blocking the coach's view, and it's over on your corner, and you happen to be in that corner, I think you have a pretty much a better angle than he has in that situation. Now, on the other hand, there's times where he's right here, he's on the close bench, and you're on the far side, and the goal is here, and you got 8 players, and he's got a better view than you do that maybe that puck was loose. But, we look for indications. We look for those indicators. Indicators are players stopped moving. Goalie has his head down and in a frozen position. But what happens is sometimes that goalie does that, and unfortunately the puck has squeaked out of his glove, and the puck is loose, and he thinks he's got it covered, and he doesn't have it covered. So, these are the things that you're up against, and that's when you rely on your partner. If your partner's on that side where he's got a clear view, they should be, not he, they should be yelling at you. They should be yelling, loose, loose. Help your partners out in that situation. That's, it's all about being a team out there.
So I did see a comment come in about referees and leagues. So the one thing I do want to state is all the leagues do have all their rules up on IHOA.com.
Yep.
They're there for you to access. That's number one. And I just did a soft count real quick of our rink blocking that we have. And in the state of Illinois, we have over 100 rinks. And some of those have multiple ref rooms. And some of the ref rooms are about as big as a refrigerator.
So here's the comment. Let me see if I can kind of make this, I gotta look at this because for some reason the type is coming in smaller. They've made some changes where you can do different things. I'll have to play around with this, but coaches have been commenting more frequently. Look, I will be the first to tell you, sometimes I've had to go to the website. Now that I know it's on the IHOA website, I've actually gone to it to look for some. It's like nobody in the scorer's box seems to know. The coaches are like, I'm not sure what we do on this situation. Who's got an iPhone?
And you revert back to USA Hockey if you have to.
Yeah,
so that's where you always go. But the thing is because there are so many leagues and so many tournaments that are here, it's nearly impossible to remember all of it and not have to look. But the reason that it's not in every ref room, purely, and I'll tell you this, how are we going to get it in every ref room?
Brian says yes, they can review pucks off the net now. Thanks for that, Brian.
I was pretty sure they could. I mean, just there's over 100 rinks, like buildings, not sheets, rinks. Mm-hmm. Who's going to go put them all up? And then who's going to maintain them being up there?
Hey, I'll tell you what, if we have somebody that can do that, Brad and I will each give you another sign that you can put up talking about this show and what times you can watch it on Mondays, and you can knock them out at the same time, and we'd appreciate it. We'll give you a free plug for doing it. How's that?
Thanks,
Joe
Jason.
Prescott would probably jump in and say, I'll take care of that for you. I'll do it.
Yeah, I'm not going to have somebody drive 1,000 miles to put posters up. Yeah. That just doesn't seem plausible with the age of technology. What really should happen is responsible teams should have a copy of the rules. When we go in for CCM weekend, there's a packet in every score box.
Yeah, for some of the tournaments, yes. Not for all the tournaments. I mean, most of them are pretty good about it. There, certain organizations are a little bit better at getting that stuff up. But I think for the most part, everybody tries to get some stuff up that you need to know. Hey, you need to know, do they have overtime or a shootout? Do they get a timeout? What's the mercy rule? Those are usually the big ones right there that you need to know. And, the problems. Knowing that you need to know that information, there's usually a desk at the front when you walk in. You can always walk over and ask them, hey, do you have a set of rules over here, or what are the policies for these things? And they'll tell you, hey, if you get to 5 goals, the clock runs. Doesn't matter if it's the second period, third period, and it doesn't stop, even if you get back down to 3. That's a big one. Mm-hmm. Some of them are 5 goals, it runs. If they get it down to 4 goals, you stop the clock.
3 or whatever.
Yeah. Yep. Timeouts for tournaments, usually only on the final day, like the semis and the finals, I think, or maybe the quarterfinals, but like the round robin games, usually there's no timeouts. But that's not true for all. The high schools will give you the timeouts. A lot of those have a timeout. Like we had timeouts, I think, last week for the St. Viator tournament. So each one is going to be different, but that's kind of the things you need to know going in. And your day goes a lot better when you know these things, because coach calls timeout and you go, hey, sorry, buddy, no timeouts. Put your players on the ice. Let's go.
Now, Scott, let's say worst case scenario, you can't find it posted anywhere. Figure it out with the coaches beforehand.
Yeah.
You guys just got to figure it out and say, look, if you have to make a decision, you're getting a timeout. Well, I don't know where you read it. Guess what? We're getting a timeout today. State it before the game. That way everybody's on the same page.
Right. Yeah, that's an easy way of doing it. Just make sure everybody's in agreement, everybody knows what's going on, and it's fair for both teams. As long as you can do that, you're good to go.
As long as you do your best to make it fair, nobody's going to persecute you. It's when you go outside of trying to do stuff like that and just lollygag it, and that's where people are like, what are you doing? But if you're just, hey, we got to figure this out now before we start, or else we're not going to drop the puck, because there's no reason to fight about it later, because I guarantee you, if you don't get them to agree beforehand, you're going to have an argument on your hands. And then you might end up in that 601 to where you didn't want to go when you could have just figured it out beforehand.
Yeah, and I'm gonna throw this out there too. This could be tournament related, but it's probably just a good general rule of thumb. And I'm gonna use this one for our newer officials. And again, this is gonna be my opinion. When you're working mite games or squirt games, some of the lower levels, they're kind of learning hockey. And I know for Brad,
people are learning hockey.
The blue line is this big. Where is it?
What?
This big, okay? But the blue line is really this big. If the coach, a lot of times the coaches are like, well, if it's close, we're good, we can keep going. But I find that doesn't work, okay? And I'm going to tell you why. Because the minute it doesn't work in their favor or works against them, you will have a problem. So what they say and what they will do down the road is 2 different things. So just go by the rules. Go by the rules the way it's supposed to be. Maybe you miss a call every now and then. That's learning. You're learning. You're working at a level where they're learning too. But you can't go and change the rules from the rule book because the coach goes, don't, if it's close, don't worry about it, Because I'm telling you, the minute it doesn't benefit him or her, you're going to hear about it. So do yourself a favor. Don't put yourself in that position. And I can remember that when I'd started out many years ago, that, coach was like, it's okay. Like, if it's okay. It's not a problem. Trust me, it's a problem if it doesn't work for them. So
I hear you 100%.
Yeah. It's just
I
the way
think we
it
could
is.
end on that. I think we could end on that because that was a good piece of advice. I don't
That's
think
a
we're
good
gonna
one, huh?
come to
Yeah, that's
topping
good
it.
for
I don't think we're going to come to topping that today. To
for
be
all
honest with you,
all the newer officials. That's one to remember. Okay, take those words of advice. All right, all right. With that being said, glad you guys joined us. Thank you for being here. We always appreciate it. We will be back next Monday. Have a great Thanksgiving, everybody. Probably going to be working a lot of games. I know most of you will get Thursday off. I think, aren't there a couple games? I think the O'Grady has a couple games on Thursday, don't they, in the morning? Did they stop doing that? They used to have a couple. You used to work them all. I know that.
every year I worked them every year until they stopped.
Yeah.
They stopped them the year before COVID. They stopped it. They didn't have, or no, year of COVID. They didn't have them actually on Thursday. That was the first year, so 19. Yeah. Because the year before it for like 4 years before it was 2 games, and I worked them always because I always worked the night games at the O'Grady tournament on Thursdays because nobody else would work them. And I said, well, that's fine. My family eats early. I'll just go eat, and then I'll come out and I'll ref. And I worked them for umpteen years at night, and when they went to the 2, it just seemed lucky that every time I put in for them, I got them. So I had been working them forever. It was always fun. I always liked it, especially when I met my wife then. Her family's up in that area. So we would go up there. She'd drop me off. She'd go visit with family and stuff before they'd all get there, just her mom. And then she'd come pick me up. I'd go over there and shower, and we'd have Thanksgiving. Yeah. So
I think really before I knew you,
I'm not going to.
Well, I worked a couple of those games, either 1 or 2 years that I ended up getting games, and obviously work with your crew probably. And that's really before Brad and I really knew each other that well. I mean, we, believe it or not, just so you guys know, like, Brad and I don't work a ton of games together. We see each other a couple times a year.
We're lucky.
So it's very rare if we're lucky that we get to work a game together. We're on the opposite ends of the earth almost in terms of the Chicagoland area. He works primarily south and west. I work north and west.
With 294, you're definitely on the opposite side of Chicago now, buddy. With all that going on, I'm not driving through that mess.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think we worked a game at Addison last year in the middle.
Yeah, I think we at some point we managed to find each other somewhere out there and have a good time doing it. But we got friendly because maybe our paths crossed in the ref rooms a few times, and that's where we kind of, because Brad's got a lot of personality. I'm not exactly the quiet guy in the room either, so we kind of hit it off that way. It's Thanksgiving, we're all friends now, so we can share our experiences, how we came together with doing this sort of thing. So, in case some of you guys are newer, you just started, hey, guess what? You're going to make some friends that are referees. We got a lot of great guys in the reffing community. There's good people. We have everything from people that work, technical jobs to being doctors and lawyers and being tradespeople and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, it's a really wide variety of people that we have in our community, and we've got some great people. So if you get into the reffing thing, and we've had a lot more sign up this year, so that's good. I think we've done very well, or you've done very well as the referee in chief to get a number of people to come in. Not me. I got alligator arms. Didn't do it.
It's been a group effort.
Yeah. But anyway, so we have more than we've had in quite some time, and so that's good. And happy Thanksgiving to all the officials, because I know a lot of them are going to be working this weekend. Happy Thanksgiving to the teams and the coaches and the parents, and we'll look forward, if you're coming into the Chicagoland area, to see you guys at some of the games. And that's about it. So happy Thanksgiving to you, my friend. I appreciate all you do for us and for all the referees. And
this will be the first year since I was 19 that I will not be skating in that tournament.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm not even skating.
Really? You're not skating all weekend, or are you just not skating that tournament?
I will be out of town, baby. I'm going. I'm getting in the family truckster and I'm going up north.
See, I didn't even know that because we haven't had a chance to catch up for a while. I know everybody's been so busy. So anyway, well, with that being said, have a great Thanksgiving. Thanks again for joining us, everybody. We do this every Monday, 5:30 p.m. from Chicago. We will see you next week right here on the Ref Room. Happy Thanksgiving and peace out. And Frankie's jumping in. There she is.
I hear.
Yep, she's here to give us a happy Thanksgiving goodbye. All right, take care, guys.